But welcome back. I hope you are enjoying your visit. How many of you have attended sessions and classes that are informing the way you think about HDS? Great. Good. So I'm Loida Feliz. I'm the Director of Admissions here at HDS, and I met a lot of you earlier today, but I just want to introduce myself again in case I haven't met everyone. And our next session of the day is going to be talking about admissions and financial aid. And I am here with some of my colleagues, both from admissions and financial aid. And I wanted to start just by introducing some of them. I think you met everyone in admissions earlier today. I'm here with my colleague Beth Flaherty, who is the Director of Financial Aid at HDS, and Julie Field, who is the Financial Aid Officer at HDS. These two ladies, our students will tell you it's important to know who they are. They have answers to a lot of questions that you may have, so I wanted to start by introducing them. And as you can see from our agenda, straightforward. Let's talk about admissions, financial aid, and then we'll open it up for questions for you. And I'll get started, and then my part of this hour is I chose three things to talk to you about when it comes to applying to HDS. One is our approach to reviewing applications and the process of admissions. The second is just to give you the nuts and bolts of the application process for you as an applicant, what you need to know in terms of what you need to submit to us. And then just point out to some additional resources that you may or may not be aware of, and just so you understand that you're not alone in this process. Okay? So how about we start with admissions approach? At HDS, admissions committees seek to build a class with a range of interests, experience, and preparation. And that is because our applicants have a variety of career aspirations. Those aspirations vary widely. And therefore, preparation for HDS cannot be just a particular formula. And that's what you're going to hear me say today. Everyone in our applicant pool is unique, and we take a very comprehensive review of your application because of that. There isn't a single formula that I'm going to give you in the next few minutes about being successful in this process. Successful applicants come from different academic preparations, professional experience, and background in all sense of the word. So cultural backgrounds, academic interests, professional. So because of that, we are very careful in the way we process applications. The admissions committee is composed of faculty members and as well as admissions and other student services staff. And we are not going through the applications and looking at a GPA and deciding somebody cannot be considered any further, or we're not looking at a GRE and deciding we're done with this application. We're going to read every single part of the application before we make a decision. So, because we're looking to compose this cohort of people that are going to work together and in this environment that you've heard so much about today and how unique it is. So that's our approach. So now let me tell you about the application basis. In front of you, you have the deadlines, very important. We do admissions, we read applications once a year. One single opportunity every 12 months to be considered for admission to HDS. And the dates are coming up for next year. I know some of you are here visiting and you're planning to apply 2 years from now, perhaps 3 years from now. How many of you are interested in applying for this coming year? Let me see. Okay, so most of you. How many are here 2 years down the road, maybe, exploring? Good. That's usually the case. How many of you are interested in the doctoral program? A couple. How many are interested in applying to the Masters of Divinity and Masters of Theological Studies? Okay, and how about, is anyone interested in the special student option that we have? Okay, all right, so I was just trying to make this. Okay, since I mentioned that, why not talk about it for a minute? Okay, so the special student program is an opportunity to enroll in classes at HDS. Our classes are not open to everyone, so you have to either be a degree candidate at HDS or other Harvard schools, or at a school that is part of the Boston Theological Institute to take classes here. So if you do not meet one of those criteria, then you can apply to enroll as a special student to take courses. There's an admissions process for that, but it doesn't lead to any degree program.
So the second question to that is that does the person need to take the GRE admission exam to take?
We're going to answer questions later, so and I'll mention the requirements for each program as I go through the process. So for the deadlines, what I wanted to point out is that how important they are. Okay, deadlines are not a suggestion. They're not just an idea for you to think about them as such. They are firm. For the Doctor of Theology, for this year is Monday, December 16th at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. For the Masters of Divinity, Masters of Theological Studies, for the Masters of Theology, and the Special Student Program is Wednesday, January 15th at 5 o'clock again, Eastern Standard Time. And all the components of your applications, we expect you to submit them by then. Decisions will be available right around March 15th. So we say mid-March because we want to make sure that you know that it could be a day earlier or later, but around the 15th of March. So again, the most important thing to remember about this part is that our deadlines are important and not a suggestion. And they're posted on our website if you forget. Okay, so application basics. Here's a list of what we expect you to submit to us to be considered for admission. So, and all of these components of the application can be submitted online and should be submitted online. We have an application form that is available now. So if you have, how many of you have had a chance to take a look at the application online yet? Okay, good. If you haven't done so, it is available. One of the most important pieces that I recommend about the application is to read the instructions carefully. A lot of what I'm going to say right now is there available to you 24/7. So you can read the instructions and they will help you. When you read those instructions, think about us. We're the ones that are writing those things, and we're doing it to help you in this process, okay? It's not just a machine creating words. It's one of us. That's something that Jen usually says, and I like to repeat. Yeah, it's us. So we have an application form. We have academic transcripts. Regarding academic transcripts, we need to see your entire academic history, everything you've done since high school, basically, not just the institutions where you received a degree. We want to see your academic performance over time in any field that you've studied. So we're going to ask you to upload your transcripts, copies of your transcript with your application. If you are admitted and then you choose to enroll at HDS, we're going to ask you to submit the official record. But for the application, all you have to do is find copies that you may have at home or request a copy from your registrar's office, the school that you attended. and submit copies with your application. One of the things that we've noticed in processing applications with transcripts that are not official is that sometimes electronic copies don't have the applicant's name on every page. Pay attention to that. We want to make sure that your transcript is your own, okay? But all decisions will be made contingent upon us receiving those official records later. But do get copies and upload them to your application. There's an application fee of $75, but if you're experiencing an economic hardship, we have waivers for applicants who are not able to pay the fee, and there's a form online with the application that you can use to petition for that, if that is the case. We ask that you submit a resume or a CV for those that have a longer career. The resume, there's no limit. If there's 2 or 3 pages, this is where you can elaborate on your experiences, whether they are professional, volunteer, you presented at conferences, written an article, or anything that you want the committee to know about you in terms of your experience that you don't find another place to put on your application. The resume is where you want to do that. The statement of purpose is an essay that is very important to us, but it's only 1,000 words. And so you want to spend some time writing this document. We don't have interviews as part of the process of being admitted to HDS. So think of the statement of purpose as your opportunity to really speak to the committee who's going to be reading your application. There are 3 things that we expect to read on the statement of purpose for the most part. And again, you can read more about this in the instructions, but I'll tell you a little bit. Your background is important to us. Your objective, and a little bit about your fit. Why do you think HDS is a good place for you and for your aspirations? So for the background, I usually recommend don't get too personal, although sometimes a personal experience is relevant for what you want to study here, but it's not a biography, and you only have 1,000 words. So the background is what you think is relevant in preparation for engaging in the kind of study that you're applying to for admissions for. So tell us about you, who you are, and what you bring. The objective, how is the MDiv, MTS going to help you reach that particular objectives? For you, some of you who are very, who think about programs as professional preparation for a particular type of role you want to play, chaplain or minister in a traditional form, those are going to be very, very specific objectives. For others, it's a little bit more open, but we want to see some direction, and we want to see how our program fits in with those objectives. And then the fit, as you heard us, the students speak earlier, HDS is a very unique place, so I encourage you to spend some time on the website, reading the bios of our faculty members, reading about our community a little bit more, ask questions while you're here today, and send us your questions via email. We have also a dedicated line to ask students questions about their experience here. There are a lot of resources to help you understand whether or not there's a good fit here for you. And we want to see a little bit of that on your essay, because we want to make sure you're going to be successful here and that you understand the kind of environment that you will be joining should you decide to enroll later if you're admitted. So we want you to do that ahead of time. I think HDS is a great place, but it's not for everyone. You may find that you find better resources for your interests elsewhere. So we want you to start doing that thinking now. So that's about the statement of purpose. And think of it as a writing sample. This is a document where we're going to be reading this as an essay. So you want to make sure that you write an essay for HDS. If you're applying for multiple schools, as many of you will, make sure you're writing an essay for every school. And I've seen the essay that says, yes, and I really want to go to Yale. like, well, I'm not at Yale right now. So the MDiv and MTS applicants are also asked to submit an additional essay. It's 500 words, and you're going to have 2 questions on the applications, and you're going to choose one of those to answer. And we also see that as another writing sample, and also just to get your thinking about a couple of topics that are of interest to our community. So choose one of those 2 questions, it doesn't matter which one. For the doctoral applicants, we also ask for an abstract of courses and a writing sample separate from this statement of purpose. And that one is 10 pages long for the doctoral program. It's a writing sample. It's something that you may already have, you've written before, and you add it to the application. We ask for 3 letters of recommendation. The letters we are often asked who is the best recommender, and in our case, we want at least 2 of those references from faculty members, people who know you as a student, who can speak to your experience in the classroom and what are you going to contribute. A professor will have a specific way of writing about you based on how they experience you as a student in the classroom. They don't have to be professor in religion courses, but in the humanities in particular, those are very, very helpful to us. And these are professors that hopefully you've had more than just a classroom experience with them or classroom relationship. Hopefully you're choosing people who know you well and who know also what your goals are. So take some time to talk to the faculty members you're approaching to ask for letters of recommendation, because they will write a better letter if they know why you have chosen to apply to our program and to this particular school, and if they know a little bit more. The 3rd letter could be from a professional experience, someone who supervised your work in some capacity. It could also be from a volunteer experience. For MDiv applicants, the 3rd letter, we ask for what we call a ministerial letter. And because ministry is so widely defined at HDS, it's really someone that can speak to your potential for the ministry that you are that you want to pursue and later. So when I say ministry, I don't mean parish ministry. It really is in the context of your own application. Now, we also ask all applicants to our degree programs to submit scores from the general GRE test. Some people are great at taking standardized tests, and that's good for you. That is not true of everyone. We here do not use the GRE scores to determine who gets considered for admissions and who doesn't. We take a very comprehensive review, so our admitted applicants have a wide range of scores. My recommendation is that you prepare for the test like if you are going to run a marathon. You don't just go run a marathon, you practice for that, right? So you want to prepare and take the test, do the best you can. We primarily focus on the verbal and the writing for those of you that are concerned about your math skills, and that would be me too. So those are the 2 that are more important to us. But again, it's just one piece of data in your application. For us, every part is very, very important. And for those of you who already have a master's degree and who are applying to the master's programs here, you can choose to waive the requirement. It's completely up to you. If you already have a master's degree, you feel like you've already shown that you perform well at the graduate level, you can choose to waive that right on the application. For the doctoral program, that's not an option. You do have to take the GRE whether or not you have a master's, and a master's is required for the THD. And there isn't a GRE requirement for the special student program. So that's the answer to your question. And all of these components of the applications must arrive by the deadline. I cannot address that enough. We normally, after you submit the application, the day after, we are going to start processing all of those materials, and you can just sit back and relax at home. I know that's too much to ask, right? You're probably going to be anxiously waiting for the results. But if you submit everything online by the deadline, we'll do our work and we'll get back to you in the middle of March. So that is the process. And now, just highlight resources quickly. We have open office hours this afternoon from 4 to 5 if you have any questions, individual questions that you don't get to ask here. Our website is a great resource, and email us. All these beautiful people I introduced you to earlier are waiting for your emails to respond to your questions, but a lot of them are answered right on the website. So, and again, when you read the website, think of us. We are writing that. We also have an Ask a Student program. So there's an email dedicated to ask students questions, and connect with us with all the social media. We're always sending great information about what's happening in our community, and that also tends to inform your application in the sense that you get to know us and what happens here, even though you're not on our campus on a day-to-day basis. So these are all resources for you. We also have an amazing blog that our students are writing to tell you about their experience, and that is also found on the admissions pages. So that's my part, and now I know Beth has a lot to cover too. So.